Hi. Hi. This is how my living room should be. I just me up on a pedestal with my friends and family members. Anyway, hi guys, how are you all doing? Good. 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 So, how do we start this? I'm sure there are so many questions. It's story time. Can we start with questions, maybe?
I'd love to.
Okay.
That's right. Oh yeah, I come prepared. I have some water up there.
So that my kids
who wants to film? I'll film.
They're like, oh mom, you were never an actress. No, people like your mom. Yet they duck. Anytime someone comes up to me and asks me for an autograph. Right underneath the seat.
Okay.
You're fine. Thank you.
Okay. All right, hold on. Video. Stop taking pictures. I'm not filming yet. Hold on. And action. All right, now
that's
flash.
my cue.
Here we go.
So who would like to start?
Are you working on anything currently?
I am. I'm actually doing, I just finished a film in January, and when I get home Wednesday, we have to do the voiceover. Because a lot of times, I'm sure, as you know, when we do takes, if there's an airplane or a train or something going by and that's the best take, we have to later, as soon as there's so much going on in post. Like, movies can take 6 months to shoot and then 4 years before they're released, and that's because of post. So we're in post right now, and then it's being submitted to the Sundance Film Festival. So it's going to hit all the circuits.
Do you have a working title yet?
Yes, it's called Come See Me. It's a true story. It's spelled S-I-M-I. There's a city in Los Angeles, Simi Valley. And it's about two sisters that have been estranged for a very long time. And like most movies, it's their journey of how they reconcile. And I play a pretty interesting character who, like I said, it's a true story, and they were debating on whether I should actually meet this woman or not before I shot. And then it took the executive producers and director about 2 months, and they said, nah, let's not have her meet her. Let's just have her do it. And then they said I nailed it. And a couple months later, I met her, and I went, oh, thank you. Thank you, I nailed that. Oh, jeez. She's a little like this, but it was definitely a great journey. It was so much fun. It was hard. It was hard. It wasn't so much fun, but it was deep and it was hard. A heavy subject. Yes.
How did you get started? Were you discovered? Was it like an audition?
Actually, I started the way that you're not really supposed to, which is with modeling agencies. They have days, and now you can't even get to the modeling agencies by yourself. You have to electronically submit yourself. And so I actually just, I think sometimes being dumb actually helps. I walked in off the street and I handed my pictures to this modeling agency, Elite Models, and the woman behind the desk said, I'm sorry we don't take just walk-in submissions. Some guy just happened to be walking by at the time, and he looked and he said, hang on a second. Went to the back and he came back and he said, we'd like to sign you. And I went from working at a hospital in San Diego, the graveyard shift, as a PBX operator, to all of a sudden, you know, being one of the first Victoria's Secret models and doing all these great, all this wonderful runway and print ads. And then I got an agent in my first audition. I wouldn't tell this to any kids that wanted to start in the business, because this is like when lightning, you know, stars and the moon and everything has to line up. I got my first audition, and I was Gwendolyn. Never owned a passport, and I lived in Paris and the Philippines and the south of France and Morocco for doing that film. So got spoiled real early.
You have a good story about Robert Crosby by any chance?
Oh boy. You know, it actually, my fondest memories are, of course, of Robin. We met when we were 16, 17 years old, and he went to La Jolla High, and I went to PB. This was in San Diego, and we were rivals, our high schools. Everybody, I'm sure you all have your rival high school. And we met at a school dance, and I just thought, oh my gosh, he's so cute, as most teenage girls do. And he was thinking probably what most teenage boys do. And we met and started dating, and he dreamed about becoming a famous musician, and I wanted to become a famous actress, and who knew? We were teenagers. So, you know, just, not that I'm pushing anybody into this business, I surely wouldn't push my kids, but if it's your passion and it's, you know this is what you're supposed to do, you've got to go for it. Because it happened. It happened to both of us, ironically. That's why I'm on his album covers and the video. And yes.
Was there any particular actress on TV or movies that inspired you to want to be in the business?
You know, I would have to say Farrah Fawcett. I think I was a unattractive kid, like around, well, like my whole life until I could get control of my hair. I have so much hair that my mom, she called them witches every time she tried to brush my hair, because they were just knots, right? So she would cut it this short. And so I got picked on and I got bullied. And by the time I was like 11, 12, I started getting control of my own hair. And I let it grow long, and I saw a picture of Farrah Fawcett on her first Cosmopolitan. And I took the picture to my mom and I said, can I have $12? And she gave it to me, and I went and got my hair cut like Farrah Fawcett, and it completely changed my life. The next day I show up at school. Look, I don't even remember what I had for lunch yesterday, but I remember standing in line in the cafeteria, and Carrie walks up to me and says, Damien DiNardo is madly in love with you. And I just thought, I'm still the same person. How come? So it was a real big life, you know, I learned a lot about you guys at that time. It was like, oh, it's all about, okay, great. But anyway, yeah, so Farrah Fawcett, I would have to say, she really, rest her soul, God rest her soul. She became a personal friend of a friend of mine who I later got to meet, and I tear up every time I think of the fact that we lost her. So, and so it wasn't really acting per se with that, it was more the look that was the modeling, and then acting just took off. Now I look and I'm like,
I've got one.
Street. Yes.
Was there a role that you were up for that you didn't get that you would have loved to have had?
You know what? You don't really ever remember the ones you didn't get, because it would be really hard to sleep at night. So, but I do remember it was always like Demi Moore and Sharon Stone and myself and Terry Hatcher and another actress that we were always whittled down, the five of us, you know, and we go, oh, there you are again, going up against me. So I guess whatever movie they got, and they would say whatever movie I got. So.
Did you ever have one that you maybe passed up that you regret passing up?
Well, you know, now that I'm 27, I had been asked to do Playboy 5 times. And my dad was alive and is still alive. And, you know, I've been working out and I'm feeling really good about myself. And I think, gosh, I wish I would have done those Playboys when I was 25 years old just to show myself what I used to look like. Because even the Whitesnake videos, I'm wearing clothes. I mean, which is really hard to kind of fathom because in today's day and age, these girls are wearing nothing in their videos. And people keep telling me how sexy they are. And I'm like wearing a potato sack in these things. But I don't really regret not doing the Playboys, but for personally, if Playboy didn't distribute them to the world and just let me have them so my daddy couldn't see them, then the answer would be Playboy. Yes.
Yeah, so how was your work with Tom Hanks?
Oh, he was horrible. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah.
When has anyone ever said that about Tom? He is just like you, everyone, myself included, with other actors. I'm sure everybody in this room has heard what a nice guy he is, and that is truly the case. I've worked with, there's only one actor, there's a couple actresses, but one actor that I worked with that was, if you're a prima donna, it makes it tough for the crew, it makes it tough for everybody. But Tom is just so great to, you know, above the line, below the line, everybody. He just treated everybody exactly the same.
Oh, and one scene of that donkey one.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes. Was I in that scene?
No. There's a bunch of
Okay.
guys. Yeah.
You know, as actors, I don't know. I mean, if you guys have gone to panels and seen other actors, but we move on from that last project. And we don't really, like when you see red carpets, I don't know if you know this, but when we walk the red carpet, we walk straight into the movie theater and right back out the door. We don't, like 95% of us do not like to watch ourselves. Reality stars do. We don't because that's not what we signed up for. We signed up to do the work and not like, you know, kick back and go, yeah, I look good. So, yeah. So I don't remember, back to the question, actually being in the scene.
No, you.
Yeah, okay.
When you were
good.
working with Tom, was there a sense of like, when you're standing next to somebody that you're working with, you stand next to him and you go, he's got it, but then you go, oh my God, later on, he's the biggest star in the world at that time, like in the 90s. Was there any inkling of that at the time, or was he just another guy that you were working with?
He was just another guy that I was working with. You have to remember that even though that was on a movie set, I live in a city where it's like, oh, sorry, Brad Pitt. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to bump into, you know. So, yeah, I think I'm immune a little bit. There's 2 autographs that I've asked for, and I got both of them. And one says to Tawny, lots of love, Michael Jackson.
Oh wow.
So we have the same attorney, entertainment attorney, and I'm very, very grateful I got that. And the only other person I've ever asked for a picture of is Andy Dick.
Oh my God.
Right? Go figure.
Oh,
Like I can have George Clooney on my wall, whatever. And it's like Andy Dick. I just love his comic timing, his genius. He's such a genius. He's on the loopy side.
Oh God, it's funny.
And then other situations that made him a little more loopy. So, but yeah, those are my 2
Yeah.
autographs.
What memories do you have about working on WKRP in Cincinnati?
I'm sorry, so
What memories do you have about working on WKRP in Cincinnati?
my memories are the original guys that came back. They were, so genuine and just so kind. And I kind of felt like, oh, this is your show. And they were like, no, take the spotlight. We're all good with this. So I would have to say my memories of my gratefulness of being able to work with the two of them. The three, and he's no longer with us.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Didn't you have some scenes with Lonnie? Didn't you two eventually meet? Was
Well,
that the storyline?
Lonnie was interesting. She guest starred. She did a 2 episode, which for the cast meant 2 weeks. She was an interesting guest star, and she guest when what was her husband back then? Burt Reynolds. Thank you. He directed us with her, and a funny story about Burt is on his script, he'd have our names, and he would put an adjective next to it so he could, that described us, so he could remember who we were. Because there were, 7 of us, and he didn't want to keep going, hey you. So the director has, until shoot day, in front of the audience, he has this podium that wheels around from set to side, and I wanted to see what was on his script, but he kept looking up and referring to. So he was somewhere else, and I went over and I looked, and on his script it said, Tawny Kitaen, sexy. And that should explain how Lonnie treated me. Or rather, why I stayed out of her way. So, boy, there's some stuff you don't know if you should put in a book or not. Yes?
Have you ever wanted to be behind the camera and direct? And if so, what genre and a dream project?
Very good question. I do a lot of improv. I did a show with Rob Riggle. I've done a couple things for Funny or Die. And when you work with guys like that, you have to be on it. And so as an actress, when you get to improv, you're like writing your own stuff. So I enjoy that. Directing, if I could just direct the actors, it would be great, but the director is in charge of so many other people that it would drive me insane. It would, I don't know how they do it, and plus treat us like we're the only actor in the world. But if I was going comedy and drama, I'm both. I love drama and I love comedy. So to answer your question, I can't answer your question.
Sure. Drama.
Yeah, exactly. Like a show like Veep. Have any of you seen that? Yeah, they're really almost directing themselves. I mean, of course, for camera purposes, they have to block, but they save those one-liners and don't even tell the other actors so that they can get a reaction out. I mean, there's some scripted, and then you just, a lot of times, it depends on the pecking order, but a director, if he wrote, a director a lot of times will go, let's do the script and then I'll just let you go. And then you guys do whatever you want. And that's really great. But when the director wrote the script, then it's hard to improv because he wants you to say, I remember I did a soap opera. Someone mentioned Santa Barbara to me, and I remember walking in doing a scene, and I walk in and I said, I said, hi. And they yelled, cut, because the director's in a booth somewhere. I look at the AD, I'm like, what? And the director goes over the speaker, he goes, it's hello. Really? So, yeah, it can get kind of, you have to find out who's doing what in order to either really stick word for word. You know, like Shonda Rhimes, I'm sure, you know, as incredible a writer as she is, like, you stick to her words. So, but Will Ferrell, he'll let you play. And I like both. Yes.
If it wasn't for modeling and acting, can you think of anything else that you'd be doing with your life if it never worked out?
An
say?
attorney.
An attorney?
Yes.
Awesome.
And then I found out I could play one and make more money.
Oh, wow.
That's-
Yeah, how was it work with Dave Coulier,
he
a comedian?
he was so funny. We shot that in front of a live,
Audience?
well, we shot here
Yeah.
at Universal, I think it
studio?
was, at Universal?
Yeah, the one in the Florida.
Right, and there was like I think it was when we weren't performing, SEALs were performing on the stage.
Oh yeah, I know this.
So there were like 4,000 seats and they'd fill up every single time.
Oh my God.
And so they couldn't boom. They couldn't put a boom in, so I had to wear a mic.
Oh, wow.
And we'd walk out on stage in front of thousands of people. Dave would say to everybody each show, let's play Where Do You Think Tawny's Mic Pack Is? I'm like, Dave, it's stop it. Yeah. So he always tried to embarrass me, but in a fun way.
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah, he is funny.
Yeah.
Because you see a lot of reality, you know, where they have the mic on the back. You know, when you're doing a show, on a network show, not to put reality down, they don't want to see your mic pack.
Oh.
So if
Yeah.
you're wearing a skin-tight dress, you've got to get very creative.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and he knew that. That's why he would say, where's Tawny's mic pack? Why do you think I'm walking like this? With my thighs holding it together.
Like a stiff.
Yes, exactly. Just wheel me in.
I
How
know.
about that?
I know. Yeah.
Yes.
You were in some of the Hercules TV shows and some of the TV movies, and also Witchboard. I believe it was asked what you would direct, but which would you rather act in, the horror or what genre?
I think I liked Hercules. I loved working on that show. I was fortunate enough to live in New Zealand for almost 2 years doing that. And the costumes, the locations, it was a dream job. It was a dream come true. I really like that. And Kevin, he's like Dave Coulier, like they're just both nasty comics. You know, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. But yeah, I between the horror and Hercules, and to be clear, there was no horror in Hercules. I liked Hercules.
Thank you.
Yeah. Which was what I saw that scared me.
How real and how edited was the surreal act? Did you and Flo actually get along?
Oh my gosh. Now I'm gonna be like my kids and Doc. It's what completely turned me off from reality TV. To see I remember a scene where I was in a restaurant with these people, and the way they edited it is, and because we were talking, there was no one treated me like I was the way they portrayed me. So I remember I asked a question, and it must have been, they cut to them, and it must have been while they were listening, so they basically put crickets behind you know, and then they cut back to me where I have done this trick for my kids my whole life where I turn a napkin into Minnie Mouse ears.
Oh my God.
So you put that all together with the crickets, it looked like, oh, she's insane. So I will never, ever, first of all, reality, there's stabs because they crossed the line when the writers went on strike. So us writers aren't really thrilled with reality stars because the networks found out they could pay them a whole lot cheaper than us. And it's not true to form. It's not, it just makes you, it's like, for me, it's the equivalent of reading the internet because 98% of it is not true. There's something there, but most of it isn't true. We shot the show, but the way they edit it is just, makes you look like I'll never do anything I do again. And thank goodness I don't have to. Thank goodness.
We got time for one more.
Yes.
Yeah, how was the special guest of the Married with Children? Married with Children?
Married with Children?
Yeah.
Oh, Married with Children. That was fun. I had no idea he was going to go on to become, you know, yeah, Mr. Modern Family.
Yeah.
But I remember after we taped, he was so nice because my guest parking was, because when I had my own TV shows, I got to park right in front of the studio. But as a guest star, you know, your parking is like on the other side of the lot. And Ed, he gave me a ride to my car.
Oh, wow.
After, yeah, and I was just a guest star on the show.
Oh,
That was
wow,
so
he's
sweet
nice.
of him.
He was a nice guy.
He tried to kiss me afterwards.
Oh, God.
You said that like the
Great, let's get that on the internet.
So that means you didn't kiss him, right?
Oh, Rash, I wish I could
No,
do
but
that.
if he came here, he'd say I'd attacked him.
Oh, yeah.
No, he was just a really, really nice
Guy.
Nice.
He is.
He was the nicest of the pecking order of how everybody went. Ed was the most humble, nicest guy.
I know Katie Seagal, now she's in the...
Yeah, Katie was very sweet.
Like she's in the Hollywood Walk of Fame now.
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, no, she's in the Hollywood Walk of Fame now.
Oh, is she?
Yeah,
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, she's
Good for her.
it's one thing I heard.
Yeah. Well, she deserves it.
Oh yeah, she is.
She really does.
Yeah, she's.
Yeah. I'm trying to get into that show. I have so many shows I love that I watch.
Yeah.
You want to get into Sons of Anarchy?
You know
Or
what?
Modern Family? Which one were you saying?
No, I said I have so many shows that I like to watch.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I
Maybe The Walking Dead.
actually just put on the first episode of Sons of Anarchy, and I'm trying.
It'll suck.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
Showtime, Veep, The Killing, The American, Scandal.
Yay, scandal.
Yay, Scandal, right?
It's addictive.
It's like tie me up and just like
Yes.
genre rhymes, anything. I can't wait till How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
gonna be good.
Yeah.
But
And-
Veep and Homeland and there's so many. The Honorable Woman on Sundance. Has
wow.
anybody seen that? With Meg Gyllenhaal.
Oh, yeah, with Maggie.
I love Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I come up here being a critic.
It's okay.
5 stars for the Honorable Woman.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Tawny Kitaen one more time.
Thank you.
Ballet is coming back to me. Thank you. I really enjoyed that. And now I get to go home and watch.